Hello, everybody. I'm live, coming to you from beautiful 70 some degrees today in Bakersfield, California. Alrighty, let's get this started. We're here because it's March Madness time. Yep, March Madness is here. The women get a number one seed, but the overall second seed, and get what basically everybody, including the experts, say is the toughest bracket. South Carolina has one of the easiest brackets. I think Texas has another easy bracket. Um, so I think those two have the easiest and the brackets to go. So their path to the Final Four is a lot easier than Iowa's. So if Iowa manages to get to the Final Four, they will have earned every bit of it, and nobody can say anything about them, right? Okay. So here it is. I filled out part of my bracket already, not all of it. Um, so here we go. Let's get going with this. Okay. I was gonna play. Okay, most of you know Holy Cross or UT Martin. I don't know what UT is. University of Tennessee, University of Texas. I don't know. Maybe you guys know. Okay. All right. So they're gonna play each other. All right. Okay. Jared, I don't know if I really want an LSU Iowa rematch, but let me do this first and we'll get there. Okay. So Holy Cross and UT Martin are going to play Thursday night at Carver Hawkeye Arena. So if you guys want to get a preview of who Iowa's going to play, I'd run right down there and at Carver Thursday night and get some tickets for it. And I'm sure you can get some great seats. I'm sure there won't be that many people, and maybe they could use some fans in the stands, right? Okay. Either way, Iowa should beat them. But I just wanted to do a little research on these schools today. Okay. UT Martin only plays 6 players because they lost 7 players during the season to season-ending injuries. And I was able to go through their thing and figure out which 6 players they're playing because they're the only ones that have played almost every single game this year. Um, okay. They're called the Skyhawks. They finished 11-7 in their conference, and they were 16-16 overall, and they come out of the Ohio Valley Conference. Okay. Okay, so they're scoring. Only score like 64.2 um, points a game, and they give up 64.3. I guess that's why they're 16-16. Pretty even match, right? Pretty even across the board. And so, given that, Iowa shouldn't have any trouble with this because they score 92.8 points a game, and they give up 71.9. Yes, our defense isn't as good as it should be, but it's better than the men's. Okay. Field goal percentage, they're at 41%. Their opponents are at 44%. And so Iowa, believe it or not, their field goal percentage is at 50%, and they're giving up 40% to their opponents. All right. So UT Martin has put up 193. Okay. Somehow I got my things pointed here, but I'm just going to say for 3 pointers, they average about 6 points, 6 3 pointers a game, and their opponents also average 6 3 pointers a game. Iowa averages 11 3 pointers a game, and they give up 8 3 pointers a game. So Iowa's shooting around 38% for the 3 point line, and their opponents shoot around 31%. Okay, and so and I was going to say that UT Martin is led by Kelly McNary or something. Okay, anyway, as luck would have it, she's one of the ones that are injured. She's only played like 4 games this year, but she has 19 points average a game, and so she probably won't be playing in this game because they did say season-ending injuries. All right, so okay, all right. So, do we wanna play them? Because they're a team that's hurting right now, or do we wanna play a Holy Cross team that, was 20-12 overall? They're called the Crusaders. They're 11-7 in the Patriot League. Um, this is one you're gonna find out is interesting. Holy Cross won both the regular season title and uh, the tournament title, okay? And so, here's I had to figure this out. Holy Cross just got promoted up to the Division 1 or whatever they call Division 1 now, you know? So they're a Division 1 basketball team now, whereas before they were not. So they came up, and I guess for 4 years, you're not eligible for any NCAA championship, okay? And so Boston College, who they beat in their final game to win the title, gets to be the representative for the, Patriot League in the big dance, okay? So that was just kinda funny. They're on a 4-game winning streak, okay? And then I kinda wanted to look a little bit because I forgot to do Princeton because if we get by that game, then we have to play either Princeton or, um, West Virginia, okay? I did do a little preview on West Virginia. They're 24-7. They were 12-6 in the Big 12, which was enough to be tied for 4th with Iowa State and Baylor. Okay, let me dig this out real quick. Let's get some of this stuff out here I got some really good stuff over here. Okay, West Virginia. Okay, so going back over it, West Virginia. Let me get this light on here a little better. Okay, so West Virginia, um, they average 74.6 a game, and they're only giving up 57.8. So to me, it looks to me like they're a very good defensive minded team. Okay. They're shooting 45% field goal range, and their opponents are only shooting 40%. Okay. Three pointers, they're shooting at 32% clip, and they're only giving up well, basically 30%. Okay. Sorry about that. Bad timing on my daughter's part to call. Okay. If I had somebody with me doing this thing, I could mute myself and take this call, but I'll get it later. Okay. Um. Okay. Well, at least you're getting the Hawkeye theme song out there, guys. I didn't necessarily. Okay. All right. So the ladies' non-conference record. Our ladies, they lost one in non-conference. They only lost one. Kansas State. Okay. Alrighty. We're gonna talk about that too coming up. But anyway, I just want to go over what potential West Virginia looks like. Okay. Um, they're led by a girl named JJ Quinterly. Quinterly. She scores at 19.6 a game, and Jordan Harrison comes in at 13.8 a game, and Lauren Fields comes in at 9.6, and Kyle Watson comes in at 8.1, and so basically, he just goes from there. So let's just talk a little bit about what's going on. Okay. So Iowa. So I got them going. I got them beating Holy Cross, UT Martin, whoever, which one they play. Um, then I got West Virginia beating Princeton, and then I took Princeton. I mean, I took West Virginia and Iowa over West Virginia. I have Colorado at the current time over Drake. And so, and Kansas State over Portland, and with Kansas State, beating, Colorado. Okay. Alright, and then, here we go. I got it right here. Alrighty, so hang on for a second. Okay. Alright. So anyway, she didn't leave anything, so it must not be important. She'll call the wife. Okay. All right. So then I got Iowa beating Kansas State because I mean, this is the rubber match where each one and one against each other. And I have LSU losing to Louisville. I mean LSU beating Louisville, I'm sorry. And I got UCLA beating Creighton, but I got UCLA beating LSU. I think UCLA is a little taller than the girls from LSU. Um, I know that everybody wants to see a rematch between LSU and Iowa. I don't know if I want to because I just don't know if I could handle the stress of what those girls get away with from LSU and their coach, intimidating everybody. That's why they win. It's because she intimidates everybody and the girls get away with a bunch of dirty junk and then the referees don't call anything. I'd hate to see that. Anyway, I got Iowa beating UCLA because according to Chad Lysico talking to the coach last night, she said that they're working on not specifically UCLA, but they're working on schools with taller post players, and I believe that they're going to come up with a plan to get around some of those tall post players that they've been struggling with this year. Okay, and then of course, if you go to the bottom half of that bracket, I've got USC and Michigan advancing each one of those schools. I got Michigan beating Kansas and USC beating Texas A&M, and they're going to go through USC, and then Baylor. I got them going through, and Virginia Tech going through over Marshall. Um, and so I got a USC Virginia Tech matchup. I got USC winning that matchup, and then again I got Syracuse advancing, UConn advancing, and Ohio State advancing. And so I got Ohio State beating UConn. Yes, I think Ohio State is a really good team, and they're one of those teams that got tall post players, and they got some really decent players there. Um, and so it's just really weird how Ohio State fell the way they fell in the Big Ten tournament. It didn't seem like them. Okay, but you had a very hot Nebraska um, team that took them down. Okay, and so, but yes, I got Ohio State beating UConn. I have Ohio State beating USC, Iowa beating UCLA. In the final four on that half of the bracket, I've got Iowa rematching for the third time this year in another rubber match, Ohio State. Now, wouldn't that be cool for the Big Ten? Okay, to make it that. I haven't done the other side of the bracket yet, but because I really wanted to focus on that was brought up earlier about the LSU rematch. I don't want to see it personally. If the refs aren't going to contain themselves and have the guts to call the fouls that they need to call, if they're not going to make the girls play clean, if they're not going to keep Kim Mulkey on the sideline where she belongs in the coach's box, I don't want to see this rematch. Last year it proved that Kim Mulkey was doing what she wanted to do all the way out on the floor. The refs weren't calling fouls. The ones that did call were idiot fouls that they called, and just plain stupid fouls that shouldn't have been called. And so, in all fairness, I just don't want to see that mess. I don't like to watch this team play. I don't really have anything against Angel Reese, as everybody um does. A lot of people do, but I really don't have anything against her. Um, but she's a good player, and she'll go to the WNBA when it's her time, which I believe is this year. So it is what it is. Okay. Um, I just don't know about that. Who I would like to see, and it probably will never happen. I'm really disappointed. I really wanted to play UConn. We played UConn a couple times in the past, and they've always gotten us. And I really think that if we were going to beat UConn, it would be a great Paige Buckers or Beckers or whatever we call her last name matchup against Caitlin. That would have been a great matchup. The matchup I want to see, um, I don't think it will happen. But it could if USC can beat Ohio State. So I really want to see that Juju Watson girl from USC matching up and playing against Caitlin. It could be all those guys going. For alrighty. Oh, what's your final four in your national championship game pick? Well, my national championship game pick is Iowa. Hang on, let me run through here real quick and see who I would put through. Uh, who I would feel comfortable putting all the way through. Okay. I'm so my final four would be Iowa, Ohio State. I kind of like Stanford coming out of that Texas bracket. Although that a Texas Stanford matchup to get to the final four in the Elite Eight would be pretty good. And I'm kind of looking at right now on the other part of the bracket. South Carolina, they're going to go through all the way. So it'll be South Carolina and either Texas or who did I say? Um, Texas or Stanford coming through. I got Iowa winning the semifinal, and then I got them beating South Carolina in the final. We're going to give them their second loss in 2 years, and guess what? Both of them are by Iowa. That's what's going to be cute, man. I'm going to love it. You know, it's like as long as Iowa is as good as they are, I'm going to take them all the way to the end. I'm not going to say that they're going to stumble. They might. They got a very tough bracket, and some of these schools that through, Louisville could find a way to beat you, LSU, right? You know, I don't think Creighton is good enough to beat UCLA, but UCLA, they could beat Iowa too. You know, it's a possibility. All right, but so I just think it's going to be, how much madness there's going to be. That's going to be fun watching the ladies play. They play Saturday afternoon and Monday night. I don't like that schedule, but it is what it is. And so it's just too bad that they have to play their schedule like that because it's just I don't like it. But hey, it doesn't, then of course you got the men playing tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central Time. I can't believe that, guys. I can't believe that. That's just way too late. But I hope they're selling tickets. I mean, it sounds like there's a lot of empty seats. They're not getting a lot of tickets sold to the NIT game against Kansas State, and we're going to do that too. We're going to go through that bracket too, and here in a few minutes. So I mean, is anybody else have anything else that they might want to throw in and comment? Feel free to throw your comments in there and stuff. And I mean, when I prepare stuff for these shows, I prepare them with the idea that there's going to be a few people in here comments and that we can respond to the comments and that kind of stuff. But okay, so we got the men going to the NIT. There it is, NIT. I did fill this one all the way out. I got Iowa. No fault to me. It probably won't happen with this year's team. They're up and down, but I got Iowa going all the way to the championship game, and I got them beating Seton Hall. Yep, and I think we beat Seton Hall earlier this year, didn't we? Okay. What's the possible record Caitlin Clark would finish with points? I don't know. Where's she at for points right now? I've lost track. So you want to kind of know what the average? I would say, um, take 6 games times 31 points is what she's averaging. So take 6 times 31 and add it to take that answer and add it to whatever she's got for points right now. That's if they went and played all 6 games, and that's what they would have. That's what she has possible could finish with. It's going to be a lot of points. All right. Okay. So all right. Anyway, looking back at the NIT, this NIT, I'm kind of comfortable with Iowa going to the NIT. I know that out on the Facebook, there's been a lot of people and on Twitter who are just slamming it. They could care less. That's fine. Don't turn the game on. You'll be the first ones to turn the game on and comment when they play. And if they lose, you're going to come on there and say, "I told you so." And if they win, you're going to be hooting and hollering with everybody else, and talking about the next game. Okay. Anyway, Iowa only gets a number 3 seed. I thought they would get a 2 seed because when Ohio State didn't go to the NCAA, and I knew that they were ahead of us in the net, that they would get the number 1 seed, and I thought we'd get the number 2 seed, but that didn't happen that way. But anyway, we get to play Kansas State first, and I did a little research on Kansas State for you guys because I didn't know anything about the Kansas State men. Okay, so the Kansas State men, in their last 3 regular season games, lost to Cincinnati, which is a horrible team this year. Lost to Kansas, which I guess Kansas is not the Kansas it has been, but they still lost to them. And they beat Iowa State. Okay, they won 1 game in the Big 12 tournament, and I guess that was against Texas. And they had a 10 seed, and but their 1 game that they had in the tournament, they lost to Iowa State. Okay, um, offensively, they averaged 71.9 points a game. And you guys are going to say, what is our men average? Well, let's find out here. I got it somewhere. Okay, our men average 82.9 per game, and we give up 79 points a game. So it just shows you our defense isn't too good. Kansas State is giving up 70.9. So they give up less than we do, but they're only scoring um way less than we do. So if we can get hot and hold them, let's say if we can hold them to 70 points and we can get hot, Iowa can get hot from the 3-point line, or Josh Dix can take off and let him do his thing. Um, then I think if we should be able to score a usual 80. And so I think if we can score in the 80s, that it looks like Kansas State can't keep up with us. Okay, they do have a field goal percentage shooting of 43.5% and 41% defensively, where our Hawkeyes are field goal percentage is 48%, and we hold our opponents to 46%. Okay, so definitely Kansas State's more defensively minded, but not that defensively minded, as I can tell from what they give up for points. So we should be able to score on them because we're an offensive minded team, right? Okay. Okay. Okay, so they shoot about 7.4 threes a game. And their opponent shoots 6.8. Iowa shoots 6.5 threes a game and gives up 8.8 threes a game. Yeah, that probably why our record isn't so great. And yeah, we do have a tendency to give up 3-pointers easily, guys. We do. I don't know when we're going to learn to defend the perimeter properly. Okay. Um, they get rebounds. They average about 37.5 rebounds a game. Iowa averages 35.4 rebounds a game. 13.8 assists for Kansas, and we averaged 17.8 assists. Turnovers, they've had 491 this year. We've only had 305. That's pretty low. Okay. Yeah. Um, there's a good question here. What's the Hawkeye men's mindset right now? Saw some emotional players after losing to Ohio State. Yeah, everybody's going to get emotional after you realize that you want to go to the big dance and you just lost your chance. You go. I think from what I heard from Fran, the guys are ready to go. They're fired up. They want to play. They want to play. What he doesn't understand is he doesn't understand why um, other teams like Indiana and Oklahoma opted out. He goes, "Why would you? Why would you?" And I know that they want to get a jump on recruiting and the transfer portal and everything. They think that the other teams that are still playing for the next couple of weeks, um, they're going to get a jump on those teams. They want to focus on next year. I get that to a degree, and I know that people were upset with us when on the football team when on the bowl game. The teams that weren't going to a bowl game took time to focus on their recruiting, grab a few people in the transfer portal, and hire coaches. We didn't hire a coach during that time. We didn't include anybody in the transfer portal at that time. We did pick up one guy, but that was after the fact. Um, and so yeah, some coaches just rather work on recruiting and work on next year, just get the anxious. But I don't think it's fair for the coach to make a decision and say, "Hey guys, we're not going to play." I think those guys want to play. They're there because they love the game of basketball, and I'm sure they would play. I'm sure they would play in a heartbeat. You know, I wonder how many people got mad and angry when coach says, "Guys, we're not going. I'm not accepting the NIT bid. I turned it down." You know, I just think that's crazy. You know, Jared, you mentioned something about if Fran does not get the Hawks to a Sweet 16 appearance by 2028, there should be a coaching change. God, let's not wait till 2028 to do that. He's got some solid players coming in. Right. I mean, he's got some solid players on his team right now. He's got a couple solid ones coming in next year. Wouldn't it be funny? Wouldn't it be funny if next year the team that doesn't have any real superstars, well, um, Owen Freeman's becoming a bona fide star on the team, but many people think we can't keep him and Brock Harding and Josh Dix thinks that we won't be able to keep him because we don't have enough money, and people are already supposedly saying that they're coming after Owen already, waving the big bucks in front of him. Let's hope that's not true, and let's hope that his girlfriend decides to stay at Iowa and not take off. Because I can understand her frustration. Especially she's a sophomore right now. But the next 2 years, if she stays, she should be getting plenty of playing time. But I do understand the frustration of some of the girls when Caitlin was there and having to play behind all these girls all the time and behind Caitlin and all Gabby and Kate Martin. People having to play behind them because they should have all been gone, right? Yeah. Okay. So, um, but yeah, so I think we could do well. I mean, in the NIT, I really think we can. Honestly, Cincinnati's having a bad year, but I actually took Cincinnati um, to get to the final four of the NIT. I just feel the matchups here are better suited for Cincinnati. Because I got them beating San Francisco, Bradley, and SMU. And then of course Iowa's going to get them. And I don't we owe Cincinnati a loss? Didn't they beat us a couple of years ago in the NCAA? I think we came back or maybe we beat them in that game. Maybe that's the one we came back and won. But I know we lost one game where we almost pulled it off, and I thought that was Cincinnati. Okay, but do I think Fran should do we need a coaching change? Um, I believe we're going to need it in the near future. I believe Fran will probably coach one or two more seasons. as Kirk will. I think both of our coaches are probably gonna leave about the same time. They both have contracts till 2028, but I could see them both leaving, maybe not next year, but the year after. Um, and so, of course, that's getting close then by then, isn't it? I would say my guess is that both of them are gone by the 2026 season. In all retrospect, I think they're both gone by then. And so that question remains, can Beth hire a good football coach? Can she hire a good basketball coach? And of course, Lisa Bluter, guys, she's getting up there in age too. You know, she doesn't show any signs of slowing down, which is good. And honestly, I think Jan Jensen would be her replacement when she does go, unless they decide that they're leaving together and they'll retire together. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun to see what happens with all of our main coaches over the years coming up. And guys, I also don't want to let you forget that we do have a wrestling preview coming up with Jared and myself on Wednesday night, sometime. Jared's been working hard on it on the wrestling preview, and I know it's going to be a good one. And we're gonna, the nationals coming up. I actually think we can fare better in the nationals, Jared, than we did in the Big Ten. What do you think? You know, I know this is a little off topic right now, but we got a little time. Why don't we talk about it? And so it's just going to be fun. It's just going to be a lot of fun in the wrestling. Researching while. Way to go, Jared. Appreciate you. Okay. All right. We're going to do this one. Researching. And then Calvin would like to know, Jared, where are we going to finish in wrestling? Not number one. That one we know. um, can we finish two or three? We finished four in the Big Ten. But now that we're going to be spreading all of our Big Ten guys out, my theory is we're going to spread our guys out now to other places. So some of these guys that were in our way before might not be there when we get to them. You know, Iowa wrestlers have a favorable path. Few individuals have a really good path. Yeah. Um. Yeah. So we'll get those previews up for you guys on Wednesday night, and come back on Wednesday and watch it live. Um. Top five finish. Jared says we're going to be top five. I say top three, Jared. How about top three? Yeah. Anyway, you guys think that the gambling get Iowa wrestling in this year, or do you think the Iowa wrestling would have still suffered the same fate? Um, um, the same fate as it is this year, where they're at with the gambling guys on the roster. Um, yeah, yeah, I like that. I would love that. Three finalists, that would be perfect. Get rid of some of them Penn State wrestlers could get set along the way. We did need Tony. Yeah, yeah, we needed Tony and who else was? Gosh, I'm trying to think. Asada was he a gambling issue or is he a graduate issue? Because I thought I saw something on Twitter that he was going after the NCAA for the way they handled the gambling stuff, and so I'm wondering if he was one of the ones that got nailed by the gambling too, or is he a graduate? Did he graduate and move on? Okay, Abe Asada. 'Cause he's one I think could have done well if he was there, so but, the future looks bright. I think we've got some great guys on the team waiting in the wings, and we got some, great guys coming in. Yeah. Yeah, Tony brought some much needed bonus points, and it was Sod and Nelson Brands. Yeah, the other the other thing. Nelson Brands, though, I mean, he brought us points and stuff, but Nelson Brands was, like, never a top 2 or 3 finisher, you know? I don't even know if he ever got to the, All-American status, did he? Did he ever get in the top 8? It's top 8 for an All-American, right? And so I don't know if he ever got there. He might have, but he brings a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge, and, I'm sure he learned something from his dad. Okay, um, well, guys, if there's not anything else, I think this is gonna be a short podcast. I just kinda wanted to go over some stuff on here and just talk a little bit about what we're doing and about the thing, and so, okay, he is a returning All-American. Has he used up his eligibility? Has NCAA, okay, with money that Iowa has in wrestling, transfer portal, and recruiting, Iowa should reload easily every year in wrestling. Yeah, so that, alone, yeah, Calvin. So do they have NIL money in the wrestling, or do they have their own separate thing going? Okay. Brands has another year's eligibility, yeah. I know that part of the rule on this ruling was is that not only did they have to sit out a year, but they also lost a year of eligibility too. And so I didn't know where Brands was or Cassiope was on that. Um, yeah. So yeah. I'm not sure what Kelvin means separate unless he's referring to the fact that um, that the l- sitting out a year plus the loss of eligibility are separate. Yeah. That's what I was thinking. If they set out a year, let's say they were a sophomore, then they set out their sophomore year, and then they automatically become a senior when coming back in. Back in. Oh, okay. Yeah. Separate monies. Okay. Yes. Separate monies from the NIL funding. Okay. Yeah. Because I thought there was a lot of money coming in. Probably not near as much as there was when what was his name? Uh Carver. Carver. Yeah, the guy who Roy Carver. He used to pump a lot of money into Iowa sports programs, especially the wrestling program. He even flew them to their nationals in his plane one year in his private jet. So, well, I think that's a good place to stop, guys. I do appreciate you stopping by. If you made it this far and watched it, I hope it was informative for you. It's mainly my opinion, plus I try to throw in some informative stuff to you. I also just want to say, please, if you haven't already liked this, please like it, but you have to subscribe first to like it. You can leave a comment after the live show. I will see it eventually, usually right away because they usually notify me right away. And I'll try to answer your questions or any concerns you have, and you know, and then I'd like you guys to share it. My eventual goal is to get to 1,000 on this podcast. We're at 280 now, I believe. And so we're pushing forward. I guess the first goal should be 300. Let's see if we can get to 300. You guys share it with your friends. Encourage your friends to subscribe. Okay. SC and USC, South Carolina are super trams, super teams. You mean, right? Yeah. Yeah. South Carolina and USC are pretty solid team. USC is going to be a team to contend with. But we also saw that their Juju Watson was vulnerable. That she wasn't perfect in her Big 12 matchup in the tournament. Is USC? I think they still won the game, but she didn't play well at all. I think she only scored a few points in that game. Yeah, 3-point shooting and rebounding. Is USC? I think it's a pretty tall team too, and as is South Carolina. I'm pretty sure. South Carolina. Wow. They've been pretty good. Like I said, they've only lost one game over the last 2 seasons, and that was to our Iowa Hawkeyes. I would love for a rematch in that game and have them lose to us again, but USC would be pretty darn motivated against us to allow that to happen because they don't like that blemish on their record. And I'm not sure. I don't know much about Don Staley, the coach of that team. I don't know, she's obviously not as bad as, Kim Mulkey, but I do appreciate her coming out and apologizing for the big fight that happened with LSU the previous week or the previous during that game during that game. Said that was not them. They don't coach that, and she would deal with it. Deal with it. With Ken Mulkey was just like, saying, "Bring it on," basically, is what she was saying. She said, "Lucky they didn't push over Angel Reese." Angel Reese had the good sense to walk away. I don't like the girl as much, but I do respect the fact that when that fight started, she walked away from it and sat on the bench, you know? She had the good sense not to get involved because she knew what was gonna happen if she got involved. Eh, yeah, yeah, Kelvin says that, South Carolina has super three-point shooting now. Yeah, that's gonna be, Iowa has a tendency to give up the three-point shot pretty easy, both the men and the women. But the women at least get out there and try to defend as much as they can. It's just sometimes when they go do some help elsewhere, and then they get back too late to defend the person who took the ball on the open, and took an open three because they had just enough time just to get it up in the air without really being contested. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. It'll be fun to see Iowa run through it. To me, I think anything less than a Elite Eight appearance by Iowa is gonna be a disappointment. I would be satisfied with Elite 8, but Final Four is where we really wanna get to with Caitlin because I'm not sure when we're gonna get back, but, yeah, I just think, I would love for us to get to the Final Four again, and I hope we can. Molly is probably not gonna be back this weekend to play. Um, Coach says that she's not, healing as fast as they hoped she would, and she still has a lot of swelling they're dealing with. Yeah, and you can't do anything with the swelling on there. And so Molly, I'm gonna tell you how to get rid of that swelling. Get home, get in bed, take a bunch of pillows, prop that leg up as high as you can, and put some ice on it. Okay? Don't be running around shooting videos from Taco John's and jumping in the video. Does it look like you were healed in that video when you were jumping around? So anyway, that's what's gonna, get Molly that swelling down. So hopefully she's listening to her doctors because I can tell you from experience that that's what she should be doing is laying in bed, propping her foot up high on pillows and draining the all that water that's causing the swelling. Okay. Yeah. So right now, I think it's a good place to stop again. I appreciate you guys again. So anyway, share, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff for me, please. It's gonna be fun. There we go. And see you Wednesday. Go Hawks. We'll be back Wednesday night with the wrestling. All right. Take care.